I got a phone call, a letter back to go and see the consultant, who sat me down with his nursing staff and told me that the mole was melanoma. I'd had a couple of moles which I'd always had underneath my ear, and one of them had actually just changed a little bit in terms of its actual texture. So I made an appointment with the doctor, and she took a look at them and looked at some of the moles that I had a little bit concern over, and sent me to Basford consulting rooms to have it photographed. There was one that she wasn't happy with. I think I got in within 24 hours to have it photographed. They sent it off, and then I had a phone call or a letter to say that they were going to carry out a biopsy to remove it, which must have been about 10 days later. So after about 6 weeks, I got a phone call, a letter back to go and see the consultant, who sat me down with his nursing staff and told me that the mole was melanoma, and because of the size of it, I would have to have a wider area removed. Bit of a shock, because I wasn't quite expecting that news, but the nursing staff were brilliant. They held my hand all the way through the process. So I went in August, beginning of August, and because of where it was, they needed to also do a check on my lymph nodes, so they carried out that procedure as well. Couldn't find any evidence through that investigation, so they just, well, I say whipped it out, took it out under local anaesthetic, which was, took an hour, and 46 stitches later it was all removed. So I then had 2 weeks worth of recovery, where they just checked on my stitches before they actually removed them 2 weeks later. And then I had a phone call end of September to say that they'd carried out all the investigation that they needed, and there was no cancer in the wider part that they'd removed. So in effect, I was cancer free. They got it early enough. My son plays a lot of sport outdoors, plays a lot of golf. Because of where my mole was, I make sure that he completely covers himself, his ears, his neck, his whole scalp, and all over his body with sun cream to make sure that he's protected in the future, because my skin is slightly more freckly than normal. He's inherited some of that from me, so I just want to make sure that he's looking after himself, and because of what I've gone through, he understands the importance of him actually doing that himself. It could be 100 times worse if you don't get it checked on. And I've actually got friends who, as a result of what I've been through, they've gone and got their moles checked, they've got the all clear, but we all need to be really, really careful about checking our bodies, because it's down to us, it's not down to anybody else.